Greetings. Welcome to the Money Script Podcast. I'm your host, Johanse Harrison, financial advisor and financial literacy educator. In each episode, you'll hear incredible interviews and get tips and strategies that you can implement into your daily life to help you improve your money script and grow your wealth. Thank you for taking some time with me today. Let's get into this episode of the Money Script. And we are hot. We are live. Welcome back, everyone. Season 2, the Money Script Podcast. I am joined today by the wonderful Jennifer Holmes. I am so excited to speak with her today. We're talking real estate, and she's right here in our local market. And shout out to her hubby, who is also my barber. Keeps me looking fresh. So we're just doing some recycling of these black dollars here. So happy to have you on the show. Happy Thanksgiving. Thank you. Welcome.
Thank you so much for having me. I know we've, known each other for quite a while. You and Alicia, we've had the opportunity to participate in the Money Date, which we really enjoyed. So just for everybody that I don't know, I'm Jennifer Holmes, your local real estate advisor with Engel & Volkers, Dallas, and I'm glad to be here today.
Yes. So let's just dive in, because the previous episode, on a previous episode, we had Miko with us, and we were talking about buying versus leasing a vehicle. And of course, as I sat in the barber chair, your husband says, "You talking about buying or leasing vehicles? What about homes?" I was like, "Yeah, you're right. Let's go ahead and set that up, make that happen." So let's talk about then buying and leasing homes, especially now. I mean, in the middle of a global pandemic, which caught me by surprise. I did not expect real estate prices to inflate like they did all over the country. And we had two competing I would say, momentums that were causing it. One was interest rates kept falling, and
Right.
two was just the people wanting they're now working at home, just wanting a home. I mean, I had several clients in the Northeast that were living in apartments, and they said, "I can't do this anymore. I need to have a yard. I need to have a space,"
Yeah.
and we're leaving the city. So, did that also happen here in the Dallas area? I mean, we're in our homes. We weren't really looking for homes, but did that happen in the Dallas area as well?
It's very interesting. So just to kind of give a little bit of information, home inventory was already low
Mm,
before Corona kind of hit, right? So currently we are at less than 2 months of housing supply. For the DFW area specifically, we have about 500 people that migrate here per day. That's a lot of people.
wow,
And
500 per
initially,
day.
500 people per day. And a lot of that is brought on by, no state taxes, companies like Charles Schwab. PGA is coming here with the corporate office as well. So we have a lot of companies. Texas and the DFW area specifically have been really good about courting corporations to move here. And of course, like I said, the taxes helps with that, but also everything is bigger in Texas, right? You being from the LBC like myself, know that homes in Texas are a lot larger for a lot less money than in a lot of metropolitan markets. And so with people being able to work from home, some of them permanently now, has made the DFW a very attractive place to move to. So, kind of the standpoint financially is supply and demand, right? So when the
Yes.
supply is low and the demand is high, automatically the price goes up. And that is what we're looking at right now.
Got it. So look, we were already in low supply and high demand with all
Yes.
of the companies that were migrating. I mean, we were part of that migration. You're right. We looked at how far $1 million would go in California, because that's what we would need it for the home size that we wanted. We'd need $1 million,
Right.
and then to look and see if we could get more than that size and
And
with
that's
some yard for a third of the price
right.
and no state taxes. There wasn't that much math I had to do. I was like,
It's like a no-brainer, right?
yeah, it became a no brainer. Now, It's not California. I know, to all my Californians, I know it's not California. However, I can, as Biggie said, it's a great place to visit. So with all the
Right.
money I save on not buying $1 million home in California, we can visit California as soon as it's safe to visit places. There's that, but nonetheless. So let's go back to the DFW area now. How I know a lot of people when they're looking for a place to live, they're thinking about the how much they're going to spend for leasing versus buying a home. How does that compare? I mean, how far does your dollar go? I guess is what I'm asking when you're looking in the North Texas region.
And that is the interesting thing about it because the DFW area is set up for home ownership, right?
Mm,
What it would cost you to lease a home, you might as well buy for the low interest rates and the upfront cost of getting into a home. Then you have additionally the difference between vehicles, leasing a vehicle and leasing a home is the appreciation and depreciation rate, right? With a home, especially in our market, you can have rapid appreciation because of the supply and demand. So prices go up. As an example, I have quite a few clients that are purchasing new construction homes, and some of their houses are not even complete yet, and they're already up close to $20,000 in equity from what they purchased at and what the new homes are selling for now. You don't get that with a lease. You don't have any earning potential, with leasing a home. So as far as from an investment standpoint, it's very, I don't recommend it, but there are certain circumstances where leasing comes into play. If you're moving into a new market, relocating, and you're not sure exactly where you want to be for schools, the type of life that you want to live, commute to your job, affordability, then you might have to lease. But the leasing market here is pretty expensive. So for our area to rent a home that is 3 to 4 bedrooms, 2 to 2.5 bathrooms could start you out at about $1,500, and depending on which area you select, could go all the way up to $3,000.
wow,
Right.
that's California prices almost.
Yes.
Wow. Okay. So, but for that same amount of money, I mean, that's what probably a. Well, I'm thinking about the size of my home. You said $1,500 on the low end.
Yes.
So 1,500 on the low end. That's about what, a $250,000 home. Probably including the taxes on it. That would almost
Right.
include the tax. Probably a little bit more. You'd have the taxes. So what say
Right.
you to then to the individuals that say, yeah, but what about the cost of upkeep of a home?
I mean, there are different things that you can do as far as the cost of upkeep, like home warranties on your major appliances and things like that. That help to lessen the cost, right? But
Okay.
if you start looking at appreciation, equity that you're developing versus the cost of what it may cost to have, home repairs that would be standard done, it, it more than evens out. I will say, as far as while we're talking about leasing from an investment standpoint, it's a great idea, right? If you can purchase a property at a good price and have someone else to lease it from you, where you're having them cover the mortgage and maybe also, have a little bit of, money there that you're taking as profit, then that's a fabulous idea. But, obviously not just because I sell homes, but, for you from a financial standpoint, if we're having that conversation, I think it's better to own. When you move out of an apartment after, let's say, 5 years, you don't get anything back. You might get your deposit back, maybe,
Maybe.
you know,
You better take
maybe,
good
just
care of it
depends.
after that much time.
But that's a big maybe. But when you move and you sell your home, especially provided you go about it the right way, choosing the right realtor, right? Then you maximize your profit and you leave with something financially versus just moving out and having those same expenditures, cycle through.
Indeed. Another benefit of home ownership is uh, once you have that loan, your payments are locked in. So when you live in an apartment or you're renting a home, each year your tenant will typically increase the cost of rents, unless you're in rent control, which there are some places like
Right.
that again in the Northeast and parts of California. That's not very popular here in the Dallas area that I'm aware of.
No, it's not.
It's not. Okay. I told you I wasn't aware of it. But you don't have any control over that. So your landlord can continually increase your rent year after year, whether or not your income went up.
Right.
Because the landlord doesn't ask, oh, did you get a raise? Great. Well, I want one too. No, the landlord just says, oh, you've been here a year. I'm raising the rent. Um, Whereas when you have a mortgage, your mortgage is fixed until you change it. So even as your income goes up, and I know a lot of people get, I hear from clients and from prospective clients, they're concerned about the 30-year commitment to a mortgage payment. I'm gonna have to pay that for 30 years. Well, that's true,
Right.
but 20 years from now, you'll more than likely be making almost twice what you're making right now. And yes, cost of everything up around you have increased, but that mortgage is still the same $1,500 it was when you started it 20 years ago. So,
For, for the most part, there are some different factors that could cause the mortgage to go up, maybe taxes,
well,
school
taxes,
bonds, things like
yes,
that.
yes. I was going to come
Right.
back to that. Yes.
But the actual mortgage payment is like you said, is set, unless you choose to refinance, right? And you can refinance for a lower payment, which a lot of people are doing now. That refinances, because of the low interest rates, are a super hot thing that people are doing right now. And I can't say that I blame them,
Yeah,
right?
we did it.
Especially
We did it.
if they have been in their home for a while and maybe had a lot higher interest rate, and now you're seeing rates in the twos and threes. If they're in a different, credit situation than maybe they were initially when they purchased their home, and they're, have a lot higher credit rating and more income, and they can get their payments down, that's a smart move because they're increasing their equity while lowering their payments.
I'm going to say it right now to all the listeners. Listener, if you have a mortgage and you have not talked to your bank or somebody's bank or somebody about refinancing your mortgage, if you haven't refinanced in the last 2 or 3 years, stop what you're doing. Just press pause. We'll still be here and go talk to somebody. Okay. I'm going to eat these words because this is going to live forever, but I can't imagine a scenario where rates are significantly lower than they are today. Will they go down? Could they go down a little bit more? Yes, but we are in the, as Jennifer mentioned, we are in the twos and low threes.
I've even seen some creeping over into the high ones.
I've seen some of the ARMs, the adjustable rate mortgages. I have a couple of clients that have adjustable rate mortgages and have had a 0 point something interest rate for their first payment. Now it went up a little bit after that, but for that first payment, I was like, it's what? I was like, this doesn't make any sense. This is, anyways. So again, actually, let's take this a step beyond. Listeners, if you have a parent or grandparent that hasn't refinanced in the last 4 to 5 years, talk to them. I have come across some of these parents and grandparents that have mortgages that were originated in the late 90s and they're at 6 and 7%. And I'm like, what are you doing? Oh, well, I only owe so much. I'm like, and who cares? For why? Why keep giving the bank 6%? For what? Well, they're going to charge me up front. I'm like, and I mean, find the money from somewhere. Find it. Why keep giving the bank 6%? It's blows my mind. So again, listeners, if you know someone with a mortgage that that has not refinanced, it's a great time to talk about it.
One other thing I was going to say that people can do if they're concerned about having payments for 30 years is, and a lot of people don't know this, that if they if they get a bonus or something on their job, or even just save up the money to do it, if they make one full payment that's equal to their mortgage payment directly to the principal every year, that will eventually begin to cut years. I think the last statistic that I heard was at least 7 years off of their mortgage by just doing that. So if you imagine what you could do, you don't have to necessarily refinance to a 15-year mortgage, because some people can't take that monthly payment being that much higher. It's essentially doubling up on it to make it 15 years instead of 30. But if they are able to eke out the money to be able to put that down to the principal at least once or twice a year, they will begin to see, the principal balance diminish significantly very rapidly.
All right, so there's the challenge for all of our students that are listening. I've got some college students that are competing to get some scholarships from us. So that's going to be your challenge question for this week's episode. You have a $250,000 mortgage. You have that mortgage for 30 years and it's at 3%. If you made one extra payment, one full extra payment directly to the principal each year, how much faster would you pay that loan off? Just put your answers. You know what to do with them. Let's see who's going to win that scholarship. So with that, let's transition. Of course, on the show, we'd like to learn about individuals' money scripts. And their money scripts are how they think about money, how their values affect their financial behavior, and everything that was taught to them up until now about money and how it works. So let's start with, and like I know you've participated in our money date, so I'd love to also have a secondary question. I will ask it up front, is have your answers changed since the last time we did the exercise?
They actually have, because
Okay.
only because the first time, we were answering the questions in the moment and having more time to think about it. I've actually been thinking about this question all week because I knew, that you were going to ask. And it's very interesting to me because when one of the questions on there is, what are your first memories of money, right?
Yes.
And so Andrew, my husband, and I were talking about this the other day just in preparation for our conversation. And I'm thinking like my first memories of money, I mean, one of the very first ones that I have, not really being aware of money, is that my grandmother's neighbor would always give us, money for the ice cream truck when it would come by, you know. But it wasn't anything that I thought about. It was just reactionary, right? That we hear the ice cream truck, he's going to come outside and give all of the kids money. A very nice guy, nothing strange going on there, just to put that out there. But as far as memories of things that I'm cognizant of and aware of it, as far as the financial transactions and earning money, a lot of, like, everybody in my family just hustles. My grandmother has been reselling clothes. First she was doing out of her garage until she got a store. So I probably was about 8 before I really started paying attention to these things as a whole. She would, clean houses and worked in hospitals, and she would get, clothes that people had left over and she would take some of those clothes and resell them. And I mean, she had shopping racks and we would put the prices on. And I remember like the fresh smell of dew in the morning and getting ready to, open up for the sale, and people would come by like it was the store. And she was able to really support herself and 5 children as a single mother by doing this.
Wow.
My own mom, who was working at Rockwell in Orange County, in an executive, assistant role, for extra money to pay for the things and get us additional stuff that we wanted, would do hair on the side. And so I remember seeing people come over to our home to, get their sew-ins and, the exchange of money. And then I think the one that I shared, this was all around the same time, was when we were in classes. The apartment complex that we lived in, we used to live in the poly apartments, right? And so one of the ladies that was our neighbor was infirm, but she was like in a wheelchair and she stayed upstairs. She would have candy that she would lower in a bucket and people would give her money. And so I said to myself, like, this is something I can do.
That was your candy lady.
Yes, she was our candy lady. And every neighborhood had one. But where we did not have a candy lady was on the bus. And so I said, okay, well, I have a few dollars. I can buy some candy and resell it and increase the money that I have. And me and a couple, girls that I would catch the bus with. My mom knows this now. She did not know it then. We would go to the corner store and buy up candy, and then we would rush to get to the other bus stop. It wasn't our bus stop. We would have to go to the other bus stop to be able to get to school on time and to sell the candy on the bus. But I learned a lot just from doing that. Even now that I'm in a sales position, as far as paying attention to people, right? The questions that they ask: do you have lemon heads? If I didn't have them that day, I was going to have them the next day because people want them, right? Or what sells the fastest? Snickers bars, they're going to go quickly, especially if you have the king size and you can charge more for them, right? So
Wow.
those are my first experiences really with being aware of money and how to get it.
Wow. So this, I think I was going back to check previous episodes, but this selling candy is a popular thing for all of our
Yes,
entrepreneurs out there. Um, wow, you're not the first to mention the king
right.
size. Um, we've had, I want to say, at least two other guests that have talked about that, and I'm not going to lie, I had my candy selling days as well. I
Yes,
did, I did. Those were a joy. Um, I remember going to trying to convince my mom to go to Sam's. Well, we didn't eat candy in our household because we were vegetarian, vegan. So there weren't Snickers bars in our house or
right.
Reese's or anything like that. So trying to convince my mom that I'm not going to eat all of it, it wasn't working. I had to convince an aunt to buy it for me, and it was this whole mess.
Little
And eventually,
workaround.
yeah, eventually I got caught. It was a mess. I was just trying to hustle though. Just trying to hustle.
Right.
So tell me, what parts of that hustler's mentality have you brought into the real estate game? How have you seen it? You mentioned that listening to what people say, like what the limit has. But do you have any
Right.
just, and this is for our hustlers and entrepreneurs out there? What are some tips that you would give to them that they could take from their own money story to help improve their role as an entrepreneur?
It's very interesting because I like business, and I never well, I went to school for marketing, but I didn't graduate from college. Um, and going to school for marketing, I really learned a lot about target markets, and breakdowns, data analytics that people are looking for to track. What I really learned about business, I learned from being an executive assistant, and I've worked for some really amazing and phenomenal people working directly for owners of small to medium sized businesses, and seeing the things that they do, and how they operate money with money has definitely helped me tremendously, in addition to kind of having that hustler spirit. So I like to call it like on the job training, or being paid to learn. I've worked for excuse me, I worked for an apparel company. I was executive assistant to the director at the Columbus Museum of Art. I mean, I really have been blessed to be in some fantastic positions to really learn from some very brilliant, business minded people, and for them to kind of like take me under their wing and show me the things that they're doing, as I'm helping them to stay organized and keep on track for their business. One of them was the owner of a boutique brokerage, Mary Lane in Columbus, Ohio, Lane Realty. And I was her assistant there for a while. So even before I became a licensed realtor here in Texas, I had the ability to kind of watch some of the things that she did. And especially as it pertains to real estate, um, I see a lot of the tendency is to treat it like a job, right? Because we do work for a broker, you have to work under a broker, but you are operating your own business. You have to have a business plan, you have to have a marketing plan, and you cannot start any business with no capital, right? So a lot of people will get started in real estate or whatever business that they choose to go into. You have to have some money. And whatever your business plan is, whatever your marketing plan is, has to be commensurate to your budget. You have to do what you can with what you have and be able to flip that and turn that into more. It's just like the candy. I didn't start off with $100 worth of candy, $5, and we turn that into 10 and then turn that into 20 and so on and so forth. And it's the same with real estate and really any other business. I had the opportunity to watch Mary Lane with her credit, making sure that okay, she has a line of credit to get listings up and off the ground, but you also have to make sure that you pay that off every month so that you don't get hit with interest charges of 20% or more, right? So you have to be very diligent about saving your money, planning for it, spending for it, sticking to a budget. A lot of people I know I have am in the process of training different team members, and they're like, well, how much, do your photos cost? I've been doing this for a while, so you may not be able to use the same company that I use for my photos. And they're like, well, who do we use? What is your budget? Let's start there, right? You're going to have to find something that works within your budget and then work up from there. So that as far as entrepreneurs and advice that I would give them is you have to have a plan. You cannot be out here freestyling and think that it's going to work. It's just one other saying that I like. I heard a woman say that hope is not a strategy. You know, you've had the opportunity to speak to my husband, and the things that we're doing now were planned years ago. You know, and it's taken a lot of work to execute them. We had to save, hundreds of thousands of dollars to be able to quit our jobs at the same time. And it's not like we just, had 4 kids and up and said, you know what, we think we won't go to work anymore. We're just going to work for ourselves. We had to decide what it is that we want to do, research what it takes in order to obtain, a real estate license, a barber license. How long does it take? How much does it cost? What are the operating costs even after that? A lot of new agents, they get their real estate license and 3 months later, you got dues. Those things are due quarterly,
Yep.
It's a few $100s. It could be $500 or $600 towards the end of the year. And if you're not planning for those things, if you don't understand what all is involved, then it can be grand opening, grand closing real quick. And now you're back looking for a job.
Man, dropping nuggets. I drop mic. You can just exit stage left. I'm still holding on to, you said getting paid to learn. Is that what you
yes,
said?
absolutely.
Man, I was reflecting on a couple of situations I was in where I'm like, I didn't make that much money. I really just got paid to learn. That
Right.
is,
But it didn't cost you, and you didn't
didn't
have
cost me a thing.
student loan debt in order to do that,
Yep. Got paid to learn. Yeah, I'm in the same club as you. I have not achieved a college degree yet. Working on it still. Actually, going back in the what do you call it? In the winter, I guess, or in the spring, in January. And now that that the school I started my college degree journey in allows for distance learning at a reasonable price, I think I might be going back to North Carolina A&T. Pretty
Very nice.
excited about that. So that's what's in it. Or who knows? I just TCC and UTA, but doesn't matter.
It all gets the job done.
Yeah, at this point, it's just a personal goal and
Right.
just to try to do it faster than my son because now he's a sophomore and he's doing well. And he's like, yeah, I could probably graduate a year early. I'm like, oh, good for you. Yeah, no, I'm really happy for him. But deep down inside, I'm a little jellified, but I'll get over it. So, well, again, Jennifer, thank you so much for spending some time with our listeners today. Please tell us for those that are in the, you're licensed in a couple of markets, aren't you?
I should be. I'm waiting for them to lift some of these restrictions in California so that I can finish taking my test, but I've completed all the coursework.
Oh, so you will be licensed in a couple of areas. There we go. Will be
Right.
coming soon.
Well, the good thing about it is with Engel and Volkers, we are, I'm always saying I'm your local expert with global, abilities. I have a conversation coming up with one of our advisors in Sweden to help another one of my clients that's in HR that has some transfers between here and there. Pretty much anywhere that we have a shop, I do have relationships, and I mean real relationships, not just me, picking a name out of a hat and trying to refer somebody there. Most of the time, if I haven't gone there directly myself, I will set up a Zoom call, Skype call with the individual so that I'm referring people to someone that is going to take the very best care of them, like I would. If need be, I can go there. But yeah, that's why I like the real estate market that I'm in now with brokers.
I love it. So how, for those that would like to have a conversation with you, how can they find you?
They can definitely reach out to me via text or phone call at 214-600-2972. I know a lot of times in the digital age, if they want to connect with me on Instagram, they can connect with me at Holmes Sweet Homes. That's HOLMESSUITEHOMES.
Home Sweet Homes. Well, thank you very much again, Jennifer. Have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your weekend.
Thank you.
And I'll be seeing your husband soon, and hopefully you soon too, when we can all go outside and do normal adult things again.
Absolutely.
Until then, be safe. Thanks for joining us on the Money Script podcast. Be sure to check out our other episodes, subscribe, follow, and give us 5 stars. Continue to send your financial questions on Twitter or Instagram at The Money Script. Go to moneyscriptwealth.com and schedule your complimentary consultation to discuss your specific goals and concerns. Financial advisory and investment management services are offered by Money Script Wealth Management PLLC, a registered investment advisory firm registered in the state of Texas and California and other states where exempt. The Money Script LLC and the Money Script Wealth Management PLLC and guests of the episode may have interest in the investments mentioned today. The opinions and views are expressed here are for informational purposes only. This material is educational in nature and should not be deemed as a solicitation for any specific product or service. All investments involve risk and a significant loss of principal. The Money Script nor Money Script Wealth Management offer tax or legal advice. Please consult your tax advisor or attorney for specific advice about your situation. Until next time.